Hello students, in this program we find days of a year of birthdays of a class of students. That is, consider this dictionary. Uh, in this, the names of some students are given as keys and their birthdays are given as values. See, this student Amit has date of birth as 1/1/2010. The student Suresh has the date of birth 2/2/2005 and another student Arjun has a date of birth 30/21/2012, which is an invalid date, and this is given as a dictionary named birthdays. Now what we want to do is we want to create another dictionary by name day numbers. Okay, so basically we want to find the day number of the birthday in the year of the student. For example, this date 1/1/2010 is the day number 1 of that year, and similarly for Suresh, the date of birth 2/2/2005 is day number 33 of that year 2005, and for the student Arjun, whose date of birth is invalid, we want invalid as the value instead of any d number. Okay, so we want to first check whether the date of birth given in the dictionary is valid or not, and if it is invalid, then we will set the value string invalid with that name, and otherwise we will find the day number in the year of the student, and we will set that day number as the value, and the name of the student will be key. Okay, now the birthdays are given in the format dd mm YY separated by dashes. Okay, now how do we you can pause here for a few minutes and try to think how will you solve this problem. Now before looking at the program, we need to discuss a few points. We have already discussed a program which finds the day number for a given date. For example, if we give the date 2nd February 2005, this program will find the day number in the year, that is 33 for the date. That program is used here, and it is modified and extended to find the day numbers of the birthdays of all the students in a dictionary. Now what is the logic of the program? The logic is as follows. We first create an empty dictionary, okay, by the name day numbers. Okay, this dictionary will be holding this information, the names of the students as the keys and day numbers as the values, and for the dates which will be invalid, we will be storing the string invalid as the value. Now first of all, that dictionary has to be created as an empty dictionary. Then we take each key value pair from the birthdays dictionary, which is already given to us, and we find the day of year of the birthday, which is which is present as the value in the dictionary. And then after finding the day of year, we add a new key value pair to the empty dictionary which we just created, and the key will be the name and the value will be the day number of the year which we have calculated. Also, if a birthday happens to be invalid, we put the word invalid as the value instead of the day of year. So this is the logic of the program. Now how do we do it? First of all, we have discussed the most functions of this program already in the previous video, so we will briefly discuss what each function does. So is leap year is a function which takes as a number which represents the year as input, and returns true or false according to the year being leap or not. If the year is leap, then it returns true, and if the year is not a leap year, then it returns false. Second function we will be using is this function called find a day of year. This takes a date as input in form of three integers: day, month and year. These are three integer variables which represent a date. Now this function find a day of year calculates which day number this date happens to be in that year. Okay, for example, 5 January 2005 will be the day number 5 of that year 2005. Okay, so this it will do for any date passed as argument. Next we look at the function is fabdate valid. This function will not be directly used in our program for today, but it just takes a day and year as integer arguments and returns true or false according to the date being a valid February date or not. Then we have another function which is named get day month year. It takes a string type date as argument, that is a date in the format dt-mm-yy as argument, and it returns three integer values representing day, month, year as output of this function. Then we have a function named is date valid, which takes a date as argument in the form of three integer values day, month, year, and this function checks whether the date provided as argument is valid or not. If valid, it returns true, and if invalid, it returns false. Then we have this function process birthdays. This is the new function which we have written for this program, which will find the day number for all the birthdays of students given in the form of a dictionary. This argument named birthdays is a dictionary which will be given to us and will be passed to this function as a argument, and it is the birthdays of the students are stored in this dictionary as values, and the names are the keys in this dictionary. Now how do we find the required day numbers for all the students? We first of all create a dictionary by name day numbers as an empty dictionary. This is the dictionary which is ultimately required by our program. It will have the names of students as keys and the day numbers of their birthdays as the values. Now look at this loop. It reads for name in birthdays. See, the loop variable's name is name here, and this loop runs on this dictionary birthdays. Okay, so what happens when you run a loop on a dictionary? You get the keys of the dictionary one by one in the loop variable. Okay, and whatever instructions are inside the loop are executed with all those values of keys in the loop variable. Okay, so remember that it is the keys from the dictionary that will be stored in the loop variable, and the instructions will be repeatedly executed with those keys. Okay, so what do we do with each key? Now remember, the keys are the names of students. What do we do with that? See, first of all, we convert the birthday given for the student in the form of a string into three integers, namely day, month, year. This we do using the function get day, month, year, which we just discussed a little while ago, and it is supplied the birthday of the student as an argument. Now how do we find that birthday? We write the name of the dictionary followed by square brackets, and we write the key inside the square bracket. Now key is the name of the students, and it is available in the loop variable name. Okay, as we just discussed. So the name of the student will be in this loop variable name, and when we will write birthdays square bracket name, we will get the birthday of that student from the dictionary birthdays. After this, what we do is first we check whether or not that birthday is valid. So that we do using this function is date valid. Okay, we call this function is date valid and supply it the date of birth of the student in the form of 3 integers, day, month, year, and this function checks if the birthday is valid or not. If the birthday is not valid, then this function will return false, and this not operator will convert that false value into true. Okay, so when the birthday of the student happens to be invalid, the condition of this if statement will become true and this statement will be executed. Now what does this statement do? It sets the value, it sets actually it adds a key value pair into the day numbers dictionary with the key being the name of the student and the value being the string invalid, because the date of birth is invalid. Okay, so in this way, for invalid dates we add this key value pair with the key as the name of the student and value being the invalid word. Otherwise, else. Now what does else means? Else means when the date is not invalid, that is when date is valid. So if date is valid, we call this function find a day of year and again pass the 3 integers representing day, month and year, the birthday of the student as argument, and this function will find the day number of that birthday in the year. Okay, and this returned value will be stored in the variable named d as shown here. So what we will do with this d, we will again add a key value pair in this dictionary day numbers with the name of the student which is available in the loop variable name will be made the key of the key value pair, and this day number d which is stored in d, it will be made the value of the key value pair. Okay, so when this loop, see this is this extent, this is the extent of this loop. These are the statements which are inside this loop. This is clear from the indentation level. Okay, so see this return statement is at the same indentation level as the for keyword. So this return statement is not a part of the for. It will execute after the for loop has completed. And what does it do? It just returns this day numbers dictionary. All right, now we see how this function process birthdays is used by the main program. Okay, as we said, the birthdays of the students along with their names is given to us in the form of a dictionary where names of the students are keys and their birthdays are given as values. So what we will do with this is that we will pass this dictionary as an argument to the function process birthdays. See, we are passing birthdays as argument to this function process birthdays, and this process birthdays function will return the day numbers dictionary which we store again in the same name day numbers. Okay, but note here carefully that although we are naming this day numbers dictionary same as was named inside the process birthdays function, but these two dictionaries are completely different from each other. They belong to different parts of memory. Actually they belong to different scopes inside the memory. This day numbers dictionary belongs to the scope of process birthdays function, and this day numbers dictionary belongs to the process of the scope of the main program. So these are completely separate from each other. So we can easily use we can very correctly use the same identifier for these two dictionaries. It is not incorrect to use the same identifier. Similarly, we are using the same identifier for the birthdays dictionary. See, this is the birthdays dictionary of this main program, and here this is the birthdays dictionary which is being used as an argument variable for process birthdays function. Again, the same logic applies. This birthdays dictionary is a variable for the process birthdays scope, and this birthdays dictionary is a variable in the main program scope. Okay, and finally we just print this day numbers dictionary, which is returned by this process birthdays function. Thank you.